Last Tuesday, I walked into therapy thinking it was gonna be a normal session. Just me, just Davina. Maybe a little childhood trauma, maybe a few questionable life choices, you know, the usual. What I wasn't expecting was for my therapist to bring back up. 1, 2, 3, 4! Walk through the door like any other day, monster in my hand and excuses on the way. Davina came and got me from the waiting room, and I said walk in the green mile, laughing toward my doom. Opened up the office door and stopped dead in my tracks. There were more therapists in that room than I thought the building had. One was setting up a laptop, one was taking notes, one had a binder thick enough to barely stay close. I looked at Davina and said, what's going on in here? She said, take a seat, Frankie. I should've run like hell instead. I said, y'all act like I'm a problem. The whole room cracked a smile. One therapist checked her watch and said, give it a little while. My therapist brought back up. There were 7 people there. One was taking notes and one was saying prayers. One was shaking her head. One looked ready to quit. One just looked at my therapist and said, I am not trained for this. My therapist brought back up like some kind of emergency crew. Half of them were skeptical until they heard version 2. Davina said, how's your week been going? I said, well, where should I start? One therapist grabbed a notebook before I even did my part. I started with Monday morning and a plan I swore was smart. By Tuesday, 3 therapists were asking, is this still one patient? Wednesday, got a face palm. Thursday, got a what the fuck. Friday, head for therapist asking, what's wrong with you? By the time I hit the weekend, one was visibly distressed. Another asked my therapist, do you ever get to rest? I said, honestly, it wasn't that bad. The whole room cracked a smile. One therapist looked at another and said, that's the most concerning part. My therapist brought back up. There were 7 people there. One was taking notes and one was saying prayers. One was staring at the ceiling. One looked ready to quit. One just closed her notebook and said, I am not trained for this. My therapist brought back up like some kind of emergency crew. Half of them were skeptical until they heard version 10. Now they're looking at my therapist like she deserves a raise. And Davina just smiled and said, I've been saying that all along. One therapist stood up slowly and started pacing by the wall. One said, there's no way that happened. I said, that's not even all. I got to the end of Thursday, the whole room looked half deceased. One therapist just stared at me like she'd seen a ghost for the first time. Another asked Davina, is she leaving anything out? Davina said, honestly, no. And the whole room started freaking out. My therapist brought back up. Now there's people down the hall. Word got out across the building and they came to watch it all. One quit taking notes and one gave up saying prayers. One looked at my therapist and asked, do they need an exorcist? My therapist brought back up like some kind of emergency crew. And by the end of the session, they all needed therapy too. Session ended, everybody left. Davina sat there in silence. I said, so, same time next week? She stared at me for a second, looked around the room, looked back at me, and said, I'm bringing more backup. I said, you better not. I said, you